अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति विधान स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभु स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसरि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON Detroit Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam morning class. So today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, text number 18. So let us start with invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikim Kṛṣṇāya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Hare Krishna. So, welcome to ISKCON Detroit Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam morning class. So, reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, text number 18. Navayam klesha bijani yatasyu purushārshava puruṣam tam vijanimo vakyabheda vimohita navayam klesha bijani yatasyu puruṣārshava puruṣam tam vijanimo vakyabheda vimohita. Let us go word by word. Na, not. Vayam, we. Klesha bijani, the root cause of sufferings. Yata, where from. Syu, it so happens. Purusharshava, O greatest of all human beings. Purusham, the person. Tam, that. Vijanima, no. Vakya Veda, difference of opinion. Vimohita, bewildered by. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Translation. O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Purport. There are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories of cause and effort, especially about the cause of suffering and its effect on different living beings. Generally, there are 6 great philosophers. Kṛṣṇa, the author of Vaisheshika philosophy; Gautama, the author of logic; Patanjali, the author of mystic yoga; Kapila, the author of Sankhya philosophy; Jaimini, the author of Karma Mimamsa; and Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Darshana. Although the bull, or the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of earth, knew perfectly well that the personality of Kali was the direct cause of their suffering, still, as devotees of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. According to the Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to fructifying of seedling sins. But even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses, for otherwise the sufferings should have been greater. Maharaja Parikshit wanted to get a statement of accusation against a direct mischief monger, but they declined to give it on the above mentioned grounds. Speculative philosophers, however, do not recognize the sanction of the Lord. They try to find out the cause of sufferings in their own way, as will be described in the following verses. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, such speculators are themselves bewildered, and thus they cannot know the ultimate cause of all causes is the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Vyananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, yesterday we have seen that Dharma, the bull, started speaking. The personality of religion said, "These words just spoken by you befit a person of the Pandava dynasty." Captivated by the devotional qualities of the Pandavas, even Lord Kṛṣṇa, the personality of Godhead, performed duties as a messenger. And today, it's been continued that, O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Today there is a discussion on theoretical philosophers, so let's see what's gonna be. Jai Shri Radha Kunja Jai Jagannath Dev Baladev Jai Shri Ram Ki Jai. So, after reading today's translation, we understand there is question like, who caused my suffering? But it is not only about that question in detail, but the deeper question is, do I understand the complete chain of causation? And where does Kṛṣṇa fit into my understanding of suffering? So, when we suffer, whom do we blame? Right? here, if we observe from last few verses, that Maharaj Parikshit has just encountered a shocking situation. The personality of religion, appearing as a bull, is standing on only one leg. The personality of earth, appearing as a cow, is distressed and apparently crying. Kali, the personification of the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, has been attacking them. Maharaja Parikshit sees this suffering and naturally asks an important question. Who is responsible for this heinous act? So this is a natural response of a responsible leader. And if someone is suffering, a responsible person does not simply walk away and say, oh, that is their problem, that is not my problem. And here, Parikshit Maharaj is very keen in identifying the culprit and punishing him. But Dharma, the bull, does something very interesting. He does not simply point his finger at Kali and say, oh, he is the cause of everything. Instead, he gives very, very deep answer. That Dharma says that because there are different philosophical opinions about the cause of suffering, it is difficult to determine the ultimate culprit. And this is where our today's verse becomes extremely important for us. We may not have a bull and cow standing in front of us, but every one of us encounters suffering, like even in and around us, like suffering even we experience in ourselves or in our family members or among our society, community people. Someone says like, oh, my boss is the reason I am stressed out of. Or someone says like, oh, my family is the reason, that's why I am unhappy, I am not satisfied. Someone may say like, oh, economy, I am facing financial problems, so economy is responsible for that. And some other person may say like, oh, my bad karma is responsible, I have done many sins previously, so that causes my suffering. And somebody else says like, oh, it's my bad fortune, it's my bad luck. And others say that, oh, maybe God is testing me, there's testing time for me. And elsewhere answers could be, there is no God, everything is simply material cause and effect. And so the question actually builds up strongly that which explanation is actually complete. There are huge wide range of varieties of answers. So what is that explanation that gives us complete answer? When something goes wrong in our life, what is usually our first reaction? Do you look for someone to blame? Or do you first ask like, what can I learn from this? What should I take away from this? What should I not repeat the same mistake which I did for this to happen? Right? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is going to take us one step more deeper. It is not just teaching us how to find somebody to blame. It is teaching us how to understand causation from the perspective of a devotee. And we see today we will discuss on two important sections that why is the cause of suffering so difficult to identify? Let's see how interesting it could be. And the devotee's vision from who is guilty to what is Kṛṣṇa teaching me out of this suffering or out of this situation. So first is why is the cause of suffering so difficult to identify? Here, the last line of this sloka, Vakya Bheda Vimohita, which means that Vakya Bheda means differences in statements or opinions. Vimohita means bewildered or confused. So here, Dharma is essentially saying there are so many explanations of causation that simply trying to identify one culprit becomes extremely difficult. Śrīla Prabhupāda's purport specifically discusses various philosophical approaches to the question of cause and effect. And the most prominent mentions here are 6 prominent philosophical systems associated with Kannada, Vaisheshika, Gautama, logic, Patanjali, mystic yoga, Kapila, Sankhya, Jaimini, Karma Mimamsa, Vyasadeva, Vedanta. The important and main point to note is that it's not like we should simply dismiss philosophical inquiry. Rather, the point is that partial explanations can leave us bewildered about the ultimate cause. So, we have this natural tendency of looking into a problem at only one cause. If we see an example of a broken mobile gadget, imagine if you are holding your phone and suddenly the screen goes blank, or suddenly on the screen display there is a green line or some stripe of line that is being constantly displayed. You may ask, like, what happened? Why did my phone stop working? And many people give various answers. Some may say like, oh, the battery might be problem, or there might be some water seeped into it, so that's why the problem. But there are wide range of answers for this problem, but is that an answer? Yes, they might be, but it is a partial answer only. And if we ask, like, why did the battery die? Someone may say like, oh, because you might have used all the day mobile, so that's why the battery has run out of. And if you ask, why did you use it all day? Maybe perhaps you are playing some games, or perhaps you are working on it, or if you are working, why were you working? Because you might have some responsibilities, or you might have some marketing thing, or some like some service to do. Because you had responsibilities, you might having some other responsibilities which involve the usage of phone, mobile gadget. So now the chain of causes becomes much longer, starting just from phone not working to like going on, like it goes on till you reveal it that you go on using, and what is that used for, and what is that meant for, what are that responsibilities, what is this responsibilities, right? So the immediate cause may be the battery, the contributing cause may be the usage, there may be environmental causes, personal decisions, technical issues, technical causes, and so on. Therefore, identifying one immediate cause does not necessarily identify the complete cause. People are like, oh, immediate cause, okay, my phone is not working, that means like battery is problem. But after a few days, again the problem persists, and again they do some other solution. So similarly, if somebody causes us pain, we may say that person is responsible for my suffering. Because of that person, I am suffering a lot. From one perspective, perhaps that person is the immediate cause, but Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam asks us to observe much deeper, asks us to dig deeper. Why did that situation arise? And why did I have to encounter that person? Why did I meet that person? Why did I engage that person? Why did that particular reaction come at that particular time? And what role does karma play in that? And ultimately, is anything happening independently of the Supreme Lord's arrangement? Of course not. And this is where the devotee's vision becomes different from ordinary blame-centered thinking to understanding Kṛṣṇa's plan. So if we see the difference between direct cause and deeper cause, so if we just make a note of them, like immediate cause can be contributing to causes, which contributes to karma, and which is from super soul or divine arrangement, and ultimately it revolves around the supreme cause, which is cause of all causes is Supreme Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. Sarva Karana Karanam. So he is the cause of all causes. So we should be careful here. The devotee does not deny the existence of immediate causes, but if somebody steals something from us, we cannot say like, oh, there is no thief, only Kṛṣṇa exists. No. That would be a misunderstanding and misinterpretation. At the practical level, there is a thief. There is an action. There are consequences. Society has laws. State has laws. Material nature has laws. So a responsible king must protect innocent people. And this is precisely why here Maharaja Parikshit wants to identify the miscreant. But Dharma is discussing something deeper. Who is the ultimate cause behind this entire situation? So, material life contains an enormous chain of causes and effects. If we see the same example, if we see the example of mobile display not working, so there might be so many causes, so many effects. One action creates another reaction. One decision creates another circumstance. One desire produces another action. Karma produces another experience. And behind the entire system is the supreme controller, Shri Radha Kunj Bihari. This is why the Brahma Samhita gives the profound description as we have seen. Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Kṛṣṇa is the supreme controller and the cause of all causes. And if we ask, someone might ask like, okay, if somebody insults me today and I become angry, but who caused my anger? The person who spoke the words, or that is the immediate stimulus. But why did those words affect me so strongly at that moment? Perhaps there is some false ego, or perhaps there is some attachment to the reputation, or there might be some expectation that are not met, or there is some past conditioning, or there is some karma. Perhaps Kṛṣṇa is giving us an opportunity to see something about ourselves within us. Therefore, the devotee does not stop at the point where he thinks that he insulted me or she insulted me, right? The devotee asks like, why did this disturbance enter my consciousness? And what can I learn spiritually from it? And I have recently come across a lecture. In that, the important point is that the degree of surrender to the Supreme Lord's pastimes gives us relief from the material pangs of sufferings. The more and more we relish the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa, the less we suffer from material conditionings and suffering pain. There is pain, there are problems, but it will not affect our consciousness if our consciousness is firmly fixed on hearing and relishing the pastimes, transcendental pastimes of Supreme Lord. So, one key takeaway from this is, do not confuse the immediate cause with the ultimate cause. Do not make an immediate cause the complete explanation. Somebody may have caused an unpleasant event externally, but the devotee understands that the complete picture is much deeper. This protects us from two extremes. Extreme one could be, nobody did anything, everything is just God's will. And extreme two can be, that person alone is responsible for everything I am suffering. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam teaches us to see the complete chain, not only like the immediate reaction or immediate effect, but immediate, complete, like ultimate cause and everything. So, next comes is like the devotee's vision from who is guilty to what is Kṛṣṇa teaching me through this situation or incident. So here, Dharma and earth actually know who is hurting them. Because Dharma is a religion personified, and Earth, Mother Earth, and she knows who is hurting her most. Okay. Here if we see, Dharma and Earth are not ignorant. They know Kali is directly responsible for their immediate suffering. Kali is standing before them. Kali has attacked them. Yet they hesitate to accuse him because they understand a deeper principle that without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, nobody can independently cause us or anybody suffering. Nobody can cause you suffering. Nobody can harm you. Nobody can disturb your consciousness. Right? Śrīla Prabhupāda explains that although the bull and cow knew Kali was the direct cause, they also knew that without the sanction of the Lord, Kali could not ultimately inflict trouble upon them. Does this mean we should never hold anyone responsible? Absolutely not. This point must be understood very, very keen and in a very careful manner. A devotee's tolerance does not mean irresponsibility. If someone harms another person, a responsible authority should protect the innocent beings. And that is exactly what Parikshit Maharaj is doing today at that particular situation. Spiritual tolerance does not mean let injustice continue, let however the world goes on. No. But it means that I will perform my duty without hurt, hatred, and without becoming consumed by revenge. Example could be like, if we see a judge may sentence a criminal, but the judge does not need to hate the criminal personally. Even there is a famous saying that hate the sin but not the sinner who has committed sin, not that the person. You should not hate that person. You should disregard or you can hate that sin, the particular sin that has been committed by a person, but not that person individually. The judge acts according to duty. Similarly, a devotee can correct someone externally while internally maintaining spiritual understanding. And if we see a powerful Mahabharata example, Arjuna is standing on the battlefield. His relatives are in front of him, about to start battle. He becomes overwhelmed. He sees Bhishma, Drona, relatives, friends and teachers. His immediate emotional could be like, oh, how can I fight with them? They are my superiors. They are my beloved family members or teachers, relatives, friends. Right? Kṛṣṇa does not simply tell Arjuna, don't worry, everything is God's will, so sit down. No, quite the opposite. Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna to perform his prescribed duty first. Therefore, spiritual vision does not eliminate responsibility. We have our responsibilities to fulfill and we have to fulfill them in regards to anything else. It is the most essential part of our life, right? It transforms the consciousness with which we perform responsibility. Arjuna ultimately fights, but not from personal revenge. He fights as an instrument of Kṛṣṇa. And here Parikshit Maharaj similarly has a responsibility. His duty is to protect Dharma. And he does not say that, oh, Kali is acting because of karma, therefore I will do nothing. No. He acts. But Dharma's answer teaches us that behind the external action there is very deeper arrangement of Kṛṣṇa. Śrīla Prabhupāda purport refers to the idea that present suffering can arise from the fructification of previous sinful activities. This gives us another layer or another view of understanding. We may experience suffering because of reactions to previous actions, that is true only. But there is even more important point that devotional service can gradually destroy the seeds of future suffering. Even in future, if you may have to experience that suffering, now itself with your sincere devotional service, it burns away the seeds itself, not even the plant, but in the seed level itself it is been removed. And this is why purport, this today's purport, does not leave us with simply, oh, you are suffering because of your karma. That would be incomplete and discouraging. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives us a way out. So, in Brahma's prayer, we see in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto, 14th chapter, text 8, Tatte anukampam susamikṣamano gunjana evatmakritam vipakam. Brahma prays that a devotee can tolerate the reactions of past deeds while continuing to serve the Lord and see the Lord's mercy. And the verse does not glorify suffering for its own sake. Rather, it glorifies the consciousness of a devotee who refuses to become bitter when suffering comes. That's the greatness of the devotee. Even in the midst of calamities, he tries to remember Kṛṣṇa and he tries to surrender more to Kṛṣṇa and he tries to get closer and closer to Kṛṣṇa. The devotee thinks that I do not fully understand why this particular difficulty has come, but I know Kṛṣṇa is ultimately in control. Let me use this situation to advance in my devotional service. Śrīla Prabhupāda repeatedly explains this devotional perspective that a devotee does not accuse Kṛṣṇa when difficulties arise, but he sees it as an opportunity for purification and spiritual advancement. So similarly, when difficulties come, we should not simply say that, oh, this suffering is wonderful. No, suffering is suffering only, right? We can acknowledge that it is difficult to overcome, but the devotee asks that, can Kṛṣṇa use this situation for my purification? This is a mature spiritual response from a devotee. We are not glorifying pain, but we are learning how to respond to that respective pain. Like, how to react to that, how to, what to take away from that, what to learn, what not to commit more and more. Right? Tolerance is not fatalism. Many people on a fatal way of thinking, they think like, oh, whatever happens will happen, I don't need anything, Kṛṣṇa will take care of everything. But devotional thinking would be like, I will perform my duty, I will take appropriate action, I will avoid creating further sinful reactions, and I will accept whatever result comes, and I will continue serving Kṛṣṇa in whatever means I can. And I will not allow suffering to turn me against God or against other devotees. So, one may have a question like, okay, what happens when we blame others? Suppose somebody hurts us by some words or some by actions or by some even physically also they may hurt us. We repeatedly replay that respective event in our mind. We think like, oh, he did this, she did this, they ruined my life, they entirely taken away my peace, right? The event may have happened only once, but through resentment, we make ourselves suffer repeatedly. We think of it multiple times each day, like, oh, this has happened, this has happened. Every day you try to remember that, and there is more and more and more suffering coming through it. The other person may have moved on. The other person who have involved in that conflict, he may just move on with, he may just have moved on with his life. But still you are stuck on the same thing, right? And you are just constantly thinking that, oh, he has done that, I should not have done this, it's been a great mistake from me. So, we are continually carrying that in our consciousness, and that brings us more and more suffering, and it takes us away from Kṛṣṇa. Right? If we take an example of a day-to-day, that carrying a heavy bag. Imagine somebody gives you a heavy backpack. You carry it for 10 minutes, then 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week. At some point you say like, oh, this person is making my life miserable. But somebody asks like, why are you still carrying the bag? We often do the same thing emotionally at many times. Somebody hurts us once. We continue carrying anger for months or years, and sometimes many time, much more time also. The devotee learns that I cannot control what someone did, but I can control what I allow that event to become inside my heart. So, we have to understand that ultimate cause is Kṛṣṇa, Supreme Lord Shri Radha Kun's Piyari. Śrīla Prabhupāda concludes the purport by emphasizing that speculative philosophers can become bewildered because they fail to recognize the ultimate cause of all causes. But a devotee ultimately understands that Kṛṣṇa is the supreme controller and Kṛṣṇa is the cause of all causes. So the main takeaway from this section is, do not become a professional blame finder and accept without becoming passive. And suffering can become spiritualized. So to conclude today's verse is, when suffering comes, how should a devotee think? There is 3 levels of understanding of this. Level 1 is the practical responsibility. Like who performed the action, we should identify it. We should protect innocent people. We should correct wrongdoings. We should perform our duties in a proper way. And level 2 could be personal spiritual responsibility. How am I responding to that situation? Am I taking it into my heart and developing the grudge or anger on that person? Right? Am I becoming angry or am I becoming envious? Am I becoming revengeful? Oh, now I have to make others suffer. Or am I learning from that situation? Oh, am I? Maybe something I have done wrong. So Kṛṣṇa has taught me through this situation. Am I remembering Kṛṣṇa in that midst of suffering or not? And level 3, the ultimate understanding. Who is ultimately in control? It's Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, Shri Radha Kun's Piyari. Therefore, even when circumstances are difficult, the devotee does not lose faith in the Lord. He completely tries to surrender and depend on the mercy of the Lord. Right? So the final takeaways for today's class is, the immediate cause is not always the ultimate cause. We have to note this problem, note this point, and try to apply this wherever we could apply them. Like whenever we could apply them. Someone may be directly responsible for an event, but the complete chain of causation can be much deeper. Do not become bewildered by partial explanations. The words Vakya Veda Vimohita reminds us that different theories can leave us confused about the ultimate cause. Karma explains part of our suffering, but not the entire suffering. A devotee does not deny wrongdoings, and tolerance is not passivity. The real victory is transforming our consciousness. And finally, Kṛṣṇa is the ultimate cause of all causes. As Brahma Samhita states, Sarva Karana Karana. Kṛṣṇa is the cause of all causes. And I would like to conclude by these takeaways. And if you have any questions, comments, realizations, and please forgive me if I misspoke anything. And I would like to have an announcement that tomorrow there is Troy Rath Yatra coming up from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Bulan Park. So I request everyone to please attend that Rath Yatra and experience the mercy of Lord Jagannath and have that blissful experience in your life and make your day the most blissful day. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki Jai. Hare Krishna.